Hello everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at the first episode of RWBY Season 5. Season 4 ended on an optimistic note. More than anything else, it was a season defined by transition. For 3 seasons, we watched Team RWBY as they lived stable, protective lives, even if the lives that awaited them would be anything but that. But the hero's journey waits for no one, and that stability and protection was taken from them. They were forced into circumstances they never asked for, even those that they knew were always there in the end. Overcoming those challenges was what Season 4 was all about, and as Season 4's ending showed, they might still be untested, but they were ready. It gave us the promise of a new hope. Let's see if it delivers. Our episode begins with Team Ranger and Crow walking down a hallway into the city of Mistral. We get an entire travel brochure of still shots showing us this season's quest hub. Next, we cut to Weiss. She seems awkward and unsure as she asks how much further they have to go. Then the pilot picks up a mayday from a passenger flight. They are under attack from Grimm and their huntress is down. The signal cuts out and Weiss asks if they're going to help, but the pilot immediately steers clear with no objections. At first, this timid display doesn't look like what we would expect from Weiss, who is usually far more confident and assertive. I think for most of her life, she has let her family name define who she is and how she should act. But now, she no longer has that to fall back on. So I think for the first time, she is trying to make decisions based on what she expects from herself instead of what is demanded of her name. And when we're not sure of ourselves, we defer to other people. We return to Haven again, this time at the academy itself. The lights are on, but there doesn't seem to be anyone home, which sets Crow on edge. So he decides to burst into the headmaster's office with guns blazing. And that is how we are introduced to Leonardo Lionheart. I have to say, I don't like this scene very much. It wasn't drawn out enough to build up tension or suspense, nor was it very funny. Instead, it just felt like an awkward introduction. Meanwhile, in Menagerie, Blake and her dad confront the local White Fang about everything they found on Elia's scroll, but they just throw her under a bus instead, and claim that she became an extremist and joined Adam's faction of the White Fang. Later, Elia herself visits Blake to give her a warning that going public with the information on that scroll won't help and that she should leave Menagerie. Elia herself deserves mention. I find her to be the most compelling antagonist this series has produced so far. Born with the ability to shift her skin color at will, she masqueraded as a normal human for a time. But instead of finding acceptance and friendship, she just found more apathy and bigotry. She ultimately rejected human society and accepted the White Fang's cause without reservations. Her character was created from the ground up to be a foil for Blake, someone who lived a very similar life but made different choices. And they both understand this, which is why this scene works so well when Blake refuses to back down, and they both know that they are enemies from here on out. We head back to the main plot, where Crow and Lionheart are shouting at each other, both accusing the other for being reckless and irresponsible. The reason why the academy is empty is because everyone is needed to fight off the Grimm. Since Cinder's little stunt in Season 3, they've run wild from all the increased negativity. Oh, and Mistral is paranoid that Atlas is going to invade the country after putting up a dust embargo and closing borders. Well, good thing there aren't any Elysian secret agents operating in Mistral right now. Once the topic of the relic is brought up, it's revealed that each relic can only be accessed by a specific maiden. Cinder's stolen the Fall Maiden's powers, but the Spring Maiden ran off and joined the bandit clan led by Raven, Crow's sister. Crow wants to just hit him with everything they've got, but Lionheart disagrees. He points out that since they can't overpower Raven, a Spring Maiden, and an entire bandit tribe, they need to wait until he can convince Mistral to give him more manpower. Crow really can't say anything to that and storms off. Then Mr. Evil Brit chimes in and tells Lionheart to work on his improv skills. I disagree. He started this meeting a bumbling professor but managed to talk the protagonists out of a headstrong, daring assault and walked away looking like a reasonable authority figure. That's 1,000 times more effective than those 2 creeps over in Menagerie are doing. So, Crow's decided to get drunk. And while he's busy with that, we see the scene from after the Season 4 credits, only with more context. There's not much to say except that it's a touching moment where Crow presents Oscar with his father's lightsaber and welcomes him into the Avengers. And 16 minutes into the episode, we see Yang at last. I'll make this quick. Badass, hair fetishist, human-cyborg relations, enough said. And now for the grand finale.
What is going on out there? Can't a girl read her comics in peace?
Oh, RWBY, your life has basically become one. Say, aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper? In conclusion, I think this episode got the ball rolling. Nothing huge happened, but you can see the pieces converging together. We are following 4 different stories at once, and I wonder if they'll handle the pacing well. I look forward to seeing the next episode. Thanks for watching.